Interesting that RAFHA chose to go to a map that they haven't played at all and denies ZETA actually the opportunity to replay the map that they lost. We talked about having reps and how important that is. They didn't want them to fix their mistakes, which is very fair, and I think that's what a lot of lower teams did yesterday in Group 1 as well. But getting into Agent Select here, and yeah, we're seeing fairly consistent, I would say, compositions to old meta styles. I think most particularly it'll be interesting to see the Astra and again Global Lurks out of Zero and Frandina on the Yoru with the double duelist alongside Lol.
Yeah, and I guess we get to see a little bit of how they like to balance things in terms of the roles as well, because in their individual rosters, in their regular, organizations that they tend to play, and especially when you look at ZETA, they take. I look at Frandina, I look at LoL, I look at Morphe, and generally these are players that are kind of flex. So you see kind of the decision making coming into bringing players in here. So indeed, will we see Frandina over on the Yoru, which is a mainstay of his own. And look, I'm interested in this because we've got two different compositions, two different ideologies on how you want to be approaching this one. So it's all about which team is able to play that better.
Absolutely, and no real role swaps as well from the freest best of ones that these two teams played, so kind of staying in their strength element. My eyes are going to be drawn towards Spy, had an insane game, only player on the team to go positive in that first best of one, well on Breach, right? And I feel like the Sky at times can be a bit more self-sufficient, so excited to see how that is going to function. But outside of that, again, you're also going to be looking towards Alexic, Serial Killer to get online, unlike the previous series, because I will say, Frandina and LoL, even though they lost, they were still fragging consistently throughout that series. We talked about it. It was a little bit closer, right, of an affair up against FMCL. So, yeah, you got to be warm from the get-go.
Oh, I'm excited about this. All right, let's get things going. ZETA will be starting things off on the defense, as it is going to be RAFHA on the attack. Serial Killer with first blood, showing that Masters Toronto quality already from the get-go. And you can see that RAFHA, 3 players strong over to this B side. They look to overwhelm Zera's position.
Spike down.
Yep, Zero wraps back around a 1v1 lost against Alexic though, and now Sixonia just getting that initial in for waiting for the rest of the team to rotate before ultimately going to re-engage with Frandina out of heaven.
Alexic, good to trade back. You can see RAFHA grouping up together. They're playing the buddy system as Frandina tries to go for the lurk. Paolo realizes that position, but it doesn't look like Yukina is there on time. Frandina with the quad piece, feeling confident as ever on the Yoru. Barely able to use much utility though in round number 1, but it's the pickup for ZETA either way.
Yeah, Frandina and Sixonia here towards mid, and then even just the re-clear of sight were so effective. I mean, you bait them with the presence over towards Vent, you get the trade out there, and then, yeah, I mean, waiting for that wall to drop heaven, filing out the Prowler, and just kind of isolating all these engagements up against RAFHA. So, yeah, they got the site. Yeah, I think Zeta did a good job anchoring as well, getting his own, but ultimately, yeah, Frandina shines through, and now a little bit of regroup action, power and numbers towards this exec, where once again it seems like they'll be facing off against Frandina early.
And looking at the compositions, I don't know what you feel about this, but I feel like both of them are quite easy to navigate and work around with. Frandina wants to keep on fragging though from the previous round. Doesn't care about anybody's thoughts about the comp. Yeah, but back to topic. I feel like both of the squads have got a fairly easy comp to navigate. You look at RAFHA and that is cookie cutter, the way that a lot of teams, like to play on their comfort roles. There's not much complexity about what they get going on. I feel for ZETA, maybe there's some nuance in there, especially with the Astra. So for a squad that, maybe doesn't have as many reps together, could be a little bit more tough to get going.
Yeah, RAFHA's definitely more defense coded, right? It's usually the controller or the Sentinel, but your Sentinel's been massacred over towards mid. Alexic able to at least get a refrag with the 4-stop Marshall, and now they've rotated the Hero Phantom over that. Yeah, when you get 4K, you're gonna buy that up and you're gonna use it to convert this round as cleanly as you can for ZETA.
2 picks for RAFHA, not too bad of an ordeal. But again, it is Frandina to continue to rack up the numbers. A quad piece on the first, 3 on the next one, and currently standing at 7 kills. That's ridiculous, and it's only round 2.
Absolutely. Gonna look back at that round. I mean, this was just unfortunate timing. You mentioned comps don't matter when you're just dry swinging these angles and getting lucky, but it is interesting that they did have a really good rotate call there to get away from that hero rifle.
Sure.
Did get those kind of nice trades, that coordination we wanted to see in the post on the pistol, but this is the round that matters, and it looks like ZETA have an interesting approach to try and convert this bonus. 4 strong mid, and it seems like that's where RAFHA wants to head.
Yeah, both teams putting a lot of emphasis in this mid-prio. Alexic considering when's the right time to push through this smoke. Doesn't look like there's any incentive for him to do that just yet, but walks in just in case any lurking ZETA players are in that position. A very wide approach as well. You've got a couple of players on each extremity here for RAFHA. And Frandina in the process, go for this peek, gets away with murder, simply having so much information on that right-hand side of the map.
Yeah, no, typical 1-3-1, so they're realizing the utmost importance of keeping these players tracked, but it's the stack through mid that's able to punch him up the gut, get into this B side and clear out all this space, and as a result, the main player doesn't have to do their job, they're good to go, and it's going to be a 2v4 retake of the remaining players. This duo, we hyped up all the pistol round, and unfortunately they're getting picked apart as well.
Yeah, well, that's what you get when you pick up Navi's duelist. Alexic completely taking over this round. Every individual fight taken has gone his way. So now also very close to Frandina's core. We get to see the start of the round and how it ensued. It looked like Alexic had no business winning that 1v1. Zero seemed to have that position locked and loaded, but maybe surprised by seeing a dry peek from his opponent. So yeah, caught off guard, and that is going to be RAFHA's first round in the game.
Frandina bringing the operator online. Does have dimensional drift if things get dicey, if a gate crash expires, but outside of that, it does feel like RAFHA's kind of controlled the pacing, has caught ZETA off guard on a few of these rotates, and it's been better weapons that kind of got them to that second round, but it cost them then on that bonus conversion, calling away the mid hold a bit too early to fight those extremities. But speaking of extremities, they pushed deep B main. They know now and can rotate over to A that this is where the exit's coming through.
Even though Alexic was just tagged by the sonar, he still gets away with a pick. It's ridiculous. And Spy going down. Spy wants to continue this madness. Yukina joining in. Only a short affair for Yukina, but this is just a dominating affair from RAFHA. Taking no prisoners. It's ridiculous. Serial killer with a bow on top and a 2-2 score already.
Ooh. Yeah, you didn't even really give the respect in any capacity there to ZETA to play the retake there, especially with Alexic. Satcheling into heaven with that showstopper. We said that was one of the players we wanted to see step up, had a hard time landing on over on Haven, and definitely doing so. And the backstep from Serial Killer just shows what this tier 1 duo is going to bring to the table for RAFHA, but it's going to be a little bit of a pause, I think. A little tech pause, I would presume, since it's timer paused. And honestly, this is a great breather. You're about to enter an eco. It looks like we're getting a reconnect possibly from Lol here, who... Another player that I mentioned was kind of fragging on par with Frandina in that first best of one. So maybe when they reconnect their internet, they'll also restart their fragging system, just system reboot style. But what do we need to be seeing now? I kind of mentioned how they have really good pre-round calls, and then they're kind of shuffling away from them a bit too early, and that's when RAFHA's jumping the gun. Last round being an exception, they just were in the right place, but were caught off guard by again.
I mean, so far, yeah, I feel for the past couple of rounds, it's RAFHA forcing ZETA's hand, right? So if they're going to continue to have these explosive takes, which I feel like they have the perfect capability of doing that, you've got the Sky flashes, you've got the Paranoia from Omen, there's a lot of an enabling power coming in from RAFHA as well, and the double controller setup, so you're able to split the map apart as you like. So if you can continue to do that, ZETA's up for a difficult task if you maintain your default setups. Likely, we could be falling into a more retake-y scenario from ZETA. And I feel like that'd be a good approach from that. I was looking at the pings, by the way, and I felt Spy's pain at that 67 ping. I'm right there with you, Spy. I know you're my next door neighbor. You're from Lebanon. I'm in Cyprus. I feel you. We're at the exact same ping rate right now, and it's painful. It makes a difference.
Yeah, let me get on the EU servers with my almost 200 ping from here in NA.
Yeah, well, why would you be playing in EMEA though? Maybe I want to experience the talent that we're casting here today in Project Vendor Spotlight. We'll get the EMEA glaze going, but for the time being, yeah, I agree. I want to see the ZETA retake, but then they need to take it 2 steps even further back, right? Because RAFHA was pushing through, preventing that.
even in the last round. But
Sure.
again, this is an eco. We're not going to see that development here too fast. But I did like the point that you made about them going for these more death ball execs, because when they did go for that 1-3-1 default, there were immediate reclears from ZETA that were really successful from players like Frandina, from players like Lol. And I think that's just making sure they're not risking these high-profile players like Serial. Well, that's what you do. You hand a weapon over to the top frag right now if they can collect it for ZETA.
I mean, if you've got talented individuals like Serial on the lurk,
true.
I don't mind you going for these constantly, but it doesn't work out this time around. It's not scary yet. You are dealing with an all-sheriff team, and they're not close to the rifle to get that upgrade. It could all go wrong very quickly, though. Gravity in combo with the paint shells. Lol is able to find another. If they continue to go for one in the trades, ZETA will be enjoying this. 40 seconds. They need to make a choice.
Yeah, I was kind of looking towards Yukina here. Like, she wasn't deep enough to A for them to call the rotate back, and that's why they fought for B Heaven, even after Serial had fallen B main. But now that they've lost another, that's where the call comes to regroup over towards Vent, over towards Heaven, and that is at the receiving end of it.
Yukina first up, and is able to square things up in terms of numbers, and this is where the weapons will have pure superiority. Sonya hoping to connect the first shot, but no, Yukina is on an absolute tear. The one true RAFHA player on the roster.
Spike planted.
And with the spike going down, it's hard to imagine Frandina, albeit the madness he was able to exert through the game so far, will be able to do too much. On the back of it, though, there is the Vandal upgrade. And with that pick, down to a 1v2, you wouldn't call that impossible.
Yeah, Dimensional Drift online as well. Little fake clear over towards ramps to flush these players out, ideally.
Risky. I don't know if you want to be expending the ultimate. You're kidding. That is brilliant stuff. Frandina doesn't stand a chance. And it's someone else's turn to get a quadro in a game.
Absolutely. And yeah, well, ZETA did push them a little bit with that eco attempt. Just Yukina the better weaponry, and showing why the 1-3-1 does exist. It is for those fallbacks, and when you have dependable, fraggable players, not just in the tier 1 players like Serial, but then in Yukina here, I mean, she didn't just clear out the space, but then she was entering onto the site where this 2-stack was, right? Super, super well done there. And while Frandina does make it hurt, I'll keep the economy in check for the time being. This is the round where we want to see those adaptations, those changes.
First time we're seeing the head-to-head with On. Well, I guess we'll see if we do come to see it in effect. An operator v operator duel.
Alexis has been that like insane entry player for this team. How are you going to do that with the operator in hand? I feel like only player that's taken early contact engagements has been Frandina, right? And they're deep on A with the op line. Sure. So we'll see how this goes. I mean, if ZETA's just going to give up the side and play retake, you don't have to worry about entering with the op.
For a moment there, I thought when you said, you know, Alexic has been the entry, you know, how do you expect to do that with the operator? I expected hold my juice box moment as Alexic went on to get the first
satchels
blood.
in, no scope somebody.
Oh, Yukina carrying on the momentum from the previous round, but this time a Kalat double kill. And that's not the play with the operator. That is ridiculous. So RAFHA now have the numbers advantage, and I feel like they've got this B site well within reach. A double-sided approach where Natalipa will be in first contact. Has to be careful here. As also teammates being tested, Zero alone, but that upper ground from Spy is a bit too difficult to account for. Therefore, a 1v3 necessary for Frandina. Last time didn't really work, and I doubt it will work this time either.
Yeah, I think you're just going to save the operator here, already ticking away in the sewers. And honestly, that was a beautiful play. You kind of mentioned how RAFHA was pressuring ZETA into certain movements, and that was on full display this round. That double kill in Male prevented their entire approach, which was they really wanted to reflood in out of Heaven, right? That was the attempt, playing for maybe some sprangles on the entry, and then go for that full retake. But once they lost Heaven control, you saw, right? I think it was the Cypher and the Astra forced to instead play across on site, and that's where, again, the really, like, suppressive utility from RAFHA was able to just isolate and win those engagements, and the players from Heaven came in opportune timing as well. Like, yeah, they got one, but ultimately RAFHA looking really strong right now, and ZETA looking like they are going to need a swap up sooner rather than later.
As much as I'd love to go all in on the testament that RAFHA look insanely coordinated, because they do, right? They've got the game plan, it's clear, they managed to get a lot of control over the map, pressure ZETA, sure. But it is coming off of some individual brilliance as well. They are unlocking some insane scenarios. And if they continue to do that, I feel like ZETA is in for a very hard time.
Well, obviously the hero out for Frandina that was saved. We saw their last eco attempt go quite well, and that's going to be a great way to kick it off here. The first blood, right? You start contemplating utilizing some of these ults on the eco conversion, like the showstopper.
Hell yeah.
I'm surprised Frandina's not backing out further here, right? You're waiting on the rotates from your team. The Seekers are now coming in. They want one more before getting out of dodge, and they are going to get it.
Sticking around so long, you can see the Seekers approaching closer and closer and closer. You just wait for the right moment for someone to swing out of the smoke. And that patience pays dividends. Now, sure, you've got the spike plant, you've got 3 players alive, the Viper's Pit is dropping, making the site a little bit more treacherous. But with a showstopper, the dimensional drift, there's not much that can go wrong. Spy taken down. At least Nathalipa is also dropping at the same time. There's so much damage being inflicted from Jada, but it's not quite enough. Finally shut down, but Yukina, as much as you know, she would have hoped, it just doesn't go away. It is 2 players left for ZETA by the end, and finally able to break the silence.
Wow, with a Thrifty as well, that is shouting into the silence. We talked about RAFHA and whether it was coordination or hero plays. That was coordination, right? Between the dimensional drift and the showstopper, right? I think the goal was Yukina there, but it still finds a kill regardless. You still get that backstab opportunity from Frandina here that gets the pit down. A little nerve-wracking, I think, from Jada Main. May have been the one to spare them from this fate, but all in all, really, really nice after Frandina, again, is that tip of the spear. Found the opening kills. It's 13-4 right now, and oh no. See, Cyril says I want to go with this. Let me shut down this player.
It's ridiculous. We're gonna have some epic kill counts if this game ends up being close. I feel it.
They're so nervous. They don't know where the off is.
Now they figured it out, though, right? You know, Frandina has TP'd away, so now you could potentially be a little bit more free to take up that mid control. But then again, you've also given information that a lot of resources have went into that. Kinel Delurk gets sidetracked by the Prowler, so LoL is able to get that first pick. And from here on out, the attackers have got one less resource to work with. But don't they mind too much, as they've already started to breach through mid and breaching into the back of the B site already. Jada's luring a lot of attention in her direction. This is going to be tough. 3 different positions taken up by RAFHA right now.
That was smart the case, so you don't have the main pressure, but the pressure heaven what was mounting, and heads on a swivel, they turn and handle it with grace. Serial killer left now in the 1v4 would have to put up serial killer numbers at this rate. Murder, and unfortunately, they have been caught red-handed. Frandina, I mean, capping off the round almost symbolic at this rate to tie us 4-4. And yeah, it felt like, yeah, they kind of got pressure, but this time it made some diamonds this time around. Sure. Just like, they almost got caught off guard by these 2 Heaven players, and then it's just like, wait, Heaven, they're good to go.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like ZETA were in complete control throughout that process. They knew exactly what RAFHA were going for. We're not really giving them too many free fights, which I like, right? You know you've got some dangerous players on that squad, so you don't test them. But Frandina, no care in the world, still delivering. But that group up over on that B site, not testing corners, not going for pushes, just holding into the positions you've already got control over. And now a reset for RAFHA, as they've got their eyes set on A.
Yeah. Been waiting for this lull and Sixtonia hold to get tested, right? Because every time they've hit A, it's been the Frandina show, but Zero actually the one to make a headliner here.
4
First
defenders.
kill found.
They found my wire.
The rotations have been clean this time around. Toxic not really helping too much with the scaling, and now it's just a standstill.
If you walk in here, RAFHA, you're not going to have too much fun.
So
definitely equipped for this. Jada, what a screamer. And instead of just walking in off the back of that pick, they hold their ground. Want to make sure that this position is still theirs. They've inflicted trouble onto ZETA, but look at this extremity push from Frandina as well, clearing out the entirety of the B site. ZETA know this is going to be an A hit, So they're comfortable to keep 3 players alive here.
Absolutely, that's the game plan.
Cover going up.
30 seconds
Showing
left.
that they're not deep enough into heaven to really cause concern and have their Cypher pivot back. Joke, but here comes the pop and the Nightfall immediately cancel it out.
So they're trying to send in the pounds to delay. Yukina already firing. Sonya now is tested.
Last
Should
player
get enough
standing.
shots across? I do not think so.
10 seconds
It means
left.
that there's only one left, and Fratandina is on the wrong side of the map for this. We'll try and get some prisoners of war, but no, that is just the round unlocked by RAFHA. And we thought this was going to be a very difficult round for them to do that, but they've found the key and unlocked the cage. Fratandina going in for another chance, though, and might actually make it doable. Holy, did not believe it would go down to a 1v1, but still, it's RAFHA's round for the taking.
Yeah, Fratandina, that's the second 1v3 they've attempted this time. A little bit closer than the last, but still no dice. And yeah, I think a little discoordination there between Sonya and Law kind of kickstarted things here. And honestly, they just kind of disrespected Nightfall. Again, it's in the nick of time, but I feel like I kind of used that to their advantage here, especially in that round, just cutting noise, keeping them guessing. Even with Fratandina that deep through B, they're like, okay, could they be up mid? That's why they were trying to re-clear. Like, did we miss a timing? But, I don't know. Every time we think that they're going to get grounds, it's just Fratandina, first blood, out of nowhere with the operator to get them right back in the driver's seat.
That's ridiculous. How did they keep on doing this?
Need that back.
Like,
You know-
they look like they were going to re-clear it. Like, they've been
Sure.
using util to clear it now. Like, they're using the boom bot, you know. Weren't they flashed this time, too? I heard the guiding light go.
Well, in this situation, Lowell needs to be cautious. 3 players that can pop out of the smoke and walks out of his own smoke in the process. What is going on? Oh dear me, suddenly RAFHA are in dire straits. Fratandina continues to provide Lowell
Spike
as
down
well.
mid.
Wanting a piece of that damn pie. Yukina has been excellent all game long, but not good enough for an ace here. A 1v5, a flawless round by ZETA to get them right back on track.
It's like, I had my, like, you wanted it to be a hold your juice box moment. I think Lol just did that to you. Like, you're like, play
Yeah.
cautious. No, I'm pushing out. I'm going for these frags. Fratandina is showing me up in the duelist department. I need to get back to their level. And yeah, they're the ones that launched that round in it to a flawless here. And for the cat and mouse back and forth we're having, we finally get a little bit of a RAFHA timeout here just to talk things through. Because yeah, like we mentioned, it feels like they've been in control, and it's just these like crazy ZETA rounds that come out of left field. And it has been, I think, just the first blood and like stop them in their tracks that ZETA has been successful on. I think one exception being that brilliantly executed eco retake, but even that was off of first bloods from Fratandina with the operator, the hero operator that was saved. So I'm wondering if it's, again, just trying to remind them more of little things like, okay guys, make sure we're not like just dry clearing the operator, make sure that we're, again, just like not giving them the opportunities to punish us out in the open like this.
Sure. This is not going at all the way I expected it to, but
No.
Fratandina is having a wonderful game. 2 kills, basically, well, nearly 2 kills every round. It averages out,
Yeah.
and that is some insane impact to have. You wonder if, you know, a performance like that is consistent, right? If you can replicate that time and time again, and you can rely on it in the game itself. I guess we'll be asking that question later on in the game, because there are no intentions of slowing down here for Fratandina. This is deep already from Alexic.
Yeah, I think they're realizing they can get ramp space pretty easily. Oh, might have made some noise, so as a result, a surefire kill.
I've got you.
Utah can keep this heavy control while they focus instead on getting out main here off the speakers, off the guiding light, and 6 Sonya, heavily pressured, decides to stand her ground, and as a result, will be dropped. And this is again going to be a really strong post play setup here. This one, I think, is going to be the most difficult this time around. I mean, no real zoning util, I'd argue, without the raise or the fade here. And nothing really to follow up, I'd say, the dimensional drift either.
Yeah, I wonder how this works out. You might want to hand this
I'm
one
winning
over.
save.
Yeah, I mean, there's still 1 round left in the half after this, right? So I don't mind that decision. It is a very difficult one, and RAFHA are not going to give you any chances.
No. Does hurt that it's a little bit of a flawless, but they did dip into the ult reserve. You know, this was the round coming out of the timeout that they wanted to achieve, so that's all they wanted. They wanted that 6th, right? And then they'll fight for the 7 or be happy with the 6-6 here, which, again, their composition to me is scarier on the defense, right? Double controller, the Viper, and the Cypher, right? I think we talked about the comps in the early phase of this game, right? And I feel like ZETA, that's why they chose the Astra, right? Because they didn't have a Viper, because they were just the Cypher. It kind of added more stability. So, we'll see how that does. I mean, even a double duelist on the attack will be fun to see with Fredina fragging the way he is, but this is the big round.
Yeah, I wonder if that makes Frandina slow down a little bit, right? Because holding that operator is more like, you know, holding the line, expecting where a potential attack is going to be coming from. That's the majority of the kills. I'm not saying, you know, they haven't had incredible moments through the game itself. Whether that was the first round, the quad piece, the second round with a rifle. So, you know, there's definitely variety in the weapons used and the way these kills have been collected. But yeah, it is exciting to see a player frag out that so hard. And having the delicacy of choosing your own pace as well on the attack is also going to be interesting. Now, though, RAFHA have decided they want to overwhelm this left-hand side of the map. All 5 players through Garage.
Boy, are they lucky. 3 stacked into B Heaven. Again, it's kind of ZETA framing this for a B reflood off the Cypher Util contact, and outside of it as well, it feels like RAFHA's had that tendency to come flooding out of Heaven, so we'll see how this fares. 4 players here.
Yeah, that's not good for Alexic. Getting caught by the trip and instantly taken down, unable to catapult himself onto the site. RAFHA facing trouble, and they've already initiated the fight. They've showed intent. Serial Killer, that is an incredible shot to connect, though. Natalipa, not ready for that one. Zero feeling like they need to go for something heroic, but make better judgment of it. Allow the spike to go down, and a 4v4 is now permitted.
I mean, you Cosmic Divide, you've Dimensional Drift, you have a lot of tools to get back into this space here, but time being, I'm loving the info denial off of this Poison Orb. It allows them to pop out, take the sites, now allow them to reposition in the post, but yep, Dimensional Drift, first layer. Just get confirmation that 3 are pretty open here, and now their own zoning dart cover to just get back into the site.
Yeah, it allows you to allow the rest of the utility to be available for the next half of the site. Yakina, incredible stuff, double kill. And maybe wants to provide a little bit more, but her services will not be required any longer, as Jada has got that underlocking key. RAFHA close out the half, 7-5.
Wow. And this is going back to kind of one of the tendencies we saw yesterday in Group 1. It's like these top-heavy teams, yes, can find success, right? And that comes from ZETA in the form of Frandina, but the well-rounded squads, like what we're seeing out of RAFHA here, where it's the GC players, it's the Tier 1, it's the VC, all stepping up and carrying their weight, that things truly do kind of come together, and you see them pull ahead, both in the tournament and now in this map, right? 7-5, following that timeout there, exactly what they were hoping to achieve after trailing and kind of, again, playing this chase game with ZETA the entire half. So now with the script flipped, you talked about Frandina maybe being tied down by the operator, going for those first bloods, you know, deposited on lines. We'll see if they're online here to be instead just that entry alongside Lull.
That's so cool about Project Blender. Seeing the mix of all spaces in Valorant and seeing how they blend together. And that's what's reflected on Blender Spotlight as well, something we won't be seeing much of for the rest of the tournament. Mixed teams. And so far, so good. ZETA now towards that left-hand side. 3 players strong. This time it feels like RAFHA might not have the adequate defenses here to stop the push from happening initially. I wonder how much you want to be pushing the issue.
Maybe check a nade delay when you know the exit's coming through, when Jada makes contact, and there it is, just early on. And this is because you wanted that Sky, you wanted that Viper to rotate over, because you did have that double kind of defensive stack over towards A. Oh, Jada, I don't know how you are still alive, my friend, but speaking of still alive, Seal re-clears the lurk from that. Now they know they can stack this B side. They have to follow through here.
Yeah, they knew it was a ruse a long time ago, so the stack is many moments in the making. All players converge on one position. It's a teammate. Everyone gets gifted a kill this time.
I mean, we're writing the script. I literally said right before that round, I'm like, it's a team effort that really gets you through these games.
Oh, yeah.
And the team ace comes in, literally everybody doing their part. That crunch on the exec was gorgeous as well. I mean, there we go. The way it could have been better was a flawless, and I mean, even that's just perfect for solidifying the lead, getting the weapons forced up here. ZETA just going to respect it. No frantic stinger force or nothing of the like here. It's gonna be a mid fight and aggressive fight for this B main orb as well on the eco. I like the confidence coming out from RAFHA here. In the meantime,
Poison's off.
again, there's so much delay utility on the side of RAFHA. When that runs short, you do have to respect the space. You don't want to be handing these weapons over. They don't. How many do you think are there? You don't know.
I don't think it matters. They know that is a boogie trap either way. So, but they still fall for it. Spy gets away with their life with 20 points of health. But that gives an opportunity for Alex to also close on that position. This is looking clean from RAFHA. This is what they wanted to get things going on that second half. Flawless as well. A teammate on the first, flawless on the next. Doesn't get much better than that on the first 2 rounds of the defense.
Absolutely, and even there, just the decision-making was really clean, right? They're like, okay, we're going to trust Lexic to handle the rest, the scraps in vent, so we need to re-clear somewhere else, and that's where we see that team fight over towards A main. They shut down Nat once again. And that's, again, just, they never did it alone either, right? That was 3 players crunching onto a single eco kill. And I think that's where, again, this team is shining. They're not taking any risks, so they don't have to. But this is where it's ZETA bounce back territory, weapons in hand. And it wasn't the most aggressive buy-up either from RAFHA, right? No Guardians, Bulldogs, Hero Rifles, we saw out of Friendina in the first half, and that should help them convert here.
Phew. I was about to make a comment about Friendina slowing things down a little bit in terms of the kills collected, but this has definitely not changed. Spy able to bring equilibrium on the server yet again, 4 players per side, but Serial Killer continues to make sure that no one is breaching that right-hand side of the map, but ZETA amping up the pace, 3 players strong, and it looked like they were digging their heels in for a sec, but we'll have to pause for just a second, especially with that paranoia thrown at them. Alexic posting up closer, knowing that this Spectre can have a lot more impact at that closer range. Oh boy, Jadar is definitely equipped for that one. A triple kill and double digits secured for RAFHA.
Wow, crossfire of death and a 3K for Jada, super impressive. And yep, that's where you need that hard stop from ZETA, because after this opening kill, which was great from Friendina, it just felt like they were on different pages as soon as Nat fell, right? I think they were worried about that weapon that was collected, so Friendina branches off, and this kill is where, okay, now you're putting all your eggs in this B main basket when you have no information on the site, right? We didn't wait for a recharge from the 6 zone. We didn't really have the luxury. We just contacted up and got punished for it. So yeah, going back to the drawing board, trying to get a resync, I think, just in terms of what plan they want to execute where, because that looks like that round looked like a very ranked mentality, right? Different players going off and doing their own thing before, yeah, they were forced to finally exec on the only available option left, which was B main.
Crunch time. Best of 1 action, folks, for anybody that's just joined in, which means you lose this and you're out, especially when you're on the lower bracket, which is indeed the factor for both of these squads. Neither of them able to win their first matches. And alternate attacks, I think, is waiting on the other end as well for one of these teams, depending on who wins.
It's FMCL, I think.
Oh, it's FMCL, sorry.
Yes.
Yeah.
They were the ones leading, and then alternate attacks, insane comeback.
I have to wait for that match for 2
went that way. And we're in OT. Oh no, we're 14-12.
Oh, okay. All right. Alternate attacks are the ones to make it out of the group. You're right, yeah. So FMCL on the waiting end.
That's a threat in its own right. Another tier 1 prowess team, but time being. Nico took charge 9-11. It's just going to be down the wire, like you said. Not crunch time just in terms of the timeout, but the buy situation as well. They have found success, I'd say, with challenging this Viper, but I think that's why they have Alexic this time, right? Posted up here instead to challenge, and yeah, exactly.
Read it like a book. Honestly, doesn't get easier.
Yep.
Oh, Sonya! Oh, keep it going! Come on, provide a third. Not quite. The denial by Alexic. He's just making mid his own domain, but yeah, it does get a little bit entertaining by Sonya, but that's just about it for the round.
We need a GC Sheriff moment for every series or best of 1 we've had the last 2 days, because I'm sure there is one every game, and that one goes to 6 Sonya this time around, but again, just not enough the follow-up there. The fact that Alexic also gets 0 right behind 6 Sonya is criminal, but outside of that, again, I don't think ZETA, to me, like, I didn't get to see too many changes because it's Nico round. I mean, Nat
Sure.
was still getting first blooded outside of A. They're still going for this super, super heavy mid fight. And, I mean, we're still seeing that kind of same start out of ZETA yet again. So I'm still waiting to see where the change this time comes through. Maybe just the cutting of noise.
Poison's off.
Well, there definitely is a cutting of noise right now from ZETA.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Just very slowly up on mid. A bit of surprise for Yakina. Drops back.
Ooh.
Let's go over space. ZETA have gotten so much of this control. But they've averted their gaze over to this B side where there's only one defender, but it is quite treacherous with Tripwise involved, and the rotations are coming in quite rapidly as well. ZETA, slow down. Want to make sure they figure out what the setup looks like, and Serial Killer gets angsty, wants to go for the peak, and ends up paying for it with his life. Alex sick on the flank. This is massive. Oh, this is huge. It does end up with just the one pick as no one is there around, but it's painted the picture enough for RAFHA to have all gazes averted in this location. RAFHA just one hop, skip, and a jump from closing out this map.
Wow.
Match point.
And I agree, I liked the call to hold, but unknowingly gave them the opportunity for Alexis to get that wrap through spawn and find Nat, right? And that's what they wanted. They wanted Nat to have that B main pressure, a little bit more information on what's happening back pillar, which would have also revealed that their pause allowed this Viper and Sky to get back on the site, right? Yukina and Spy rotated all the way over from A, while Alexic was clearing A main, right? So again, just unfortunate kind of occurrences there, lining up in favor of RAFHA to get to map point here, and little half-buy situation. Bulldogs scattered in the wind for ZETA to try and keep this run, this tournament life alive.
It's a desperate one, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
not going to be easy at all, and they know it. Information handed over, though, for RAFHA. They know exactly what's going on, and Alex's position is initially left unchecked. Nets himself a double. Spy also having a piece of the fun, and instantly Sonya is the only trooper alive. They are already bidding farewell to this tournament. It's nice to see ZETA compete in this one. We've seen a lot of familiar and friendly faces on the server, but this is their journey over for the Project Blender Spotlight. And RAFHA will continuing on to see if they can make their way over to playoffs. What an exciting match.
Absolutely. I thought for a second we were going to have like competition from the get-go in the lower bracket, but as soon as that timeout was taken, they got the ball rolling, they carried over the momentum of the pistol, and it was essentially history. And I feel like we checked all the boxes in terms of my asks from what we saw over on the first best of one, right? I said I wanted to see Alexic and Serial step up, they did, and then we saw the rest just still having that same level of promise, that same level of impact, and Yukina was just also just an insane stability point here to see. I mean, this team, they're looking scary, and I think this is one of those teams, kind of like Nova, that's just going to get stronger with each passing best of one played. And I do think that's where the benefit of making the lower bracket gauntlet run in the GSL can favor you when you get to the best of threes.
For sure. It of course, comes with the factor of being very, very scary, and pants need to be checked. It's very, very high risk. But indeed, you're right. I feel like there is a lot to gain by playing more games. You will be better equipped for the playoffs when you enter that BO3 format. But yeah, I mean, I feel like we got a good taster of what both of these squads could have provided. You know, for Fry and Dinner, a little bit upsetting that they didn't quite get the win. They were kicking and screaming their way through this series. You know, getting just 19 kills in the first 10 rounds is ridiculous. And look, I'm also a little bit disappointed we didn't get to see too much of the Jada Sonya head-to-head, right? I feel like we didn't get to see that too much.
No, I mean, Sixonia having a really rough go at it. Nat as well, like they were just re-clearing here every time on those lurk attempts. And it felt like they, again, didn't make that switch up in time. We finally kind of saw her fall back, but that was the round that Alexic decided to push all the way through spawn anyways. So very, very difficult to say. I also just think it's partially credited to the roles, right? Sixonia was always in that back line, providing the util support for this double duelist entry, versus Jada, again, was also just kind of in the back lines until she was anchoring these crossfires. And she had a heck of a turnaround also at the half after a quieter start. So it is unfortunate, but then maybe again, then they won't have any bad blood, big quotation mark, because it's all in the spirit of a fun off-season competition.